All right, welcome in. Hope you're all having a good Saturday. This is the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. A couple of things that we want to get to on today's show. Robbie Gould probably leaving the 49ers, testing out free agency. According to Albert Breer, Baker Mayfield an option for San Francisco. We talked briefly about that yesterday. And Ian Rapoport on the Pat McAfee show on Friday said that an Aaron Rodgers trade for the 49ers is possible. Let's dive into it. First, make sure you subscribe, though, as we are closing in on 79,000 subscribers. We put out videos every single day here on the channel, so if you want to stay informed and in the know on all things on the Niners front with daily shows year-round, lock us in and subscribe today. So, some big news here for San Francisco with that special teams unit. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Robbie Gould is going to test the free agency market, and he told Schefter that his time in the Bay Area most likely is going to come to an end. And if you watched the show earlier this week, again, this is why you subscribe, we did some John Lynch press conference takeaways from the NFL Scouting Combine, and I thought what was pretty notable was him saying that while in Indianapolis, the front office, the scouting department, they were going to do their due diligence and scout some kickers. Gould, a free agent. He's been really good for the 49ers throughout his entire NFL career in the playoffs. He is 29 for 29 on field goal attempts. He's one of the most efficient kickers in the NFL, one of the most clutch kickers in the NFL, but he's going to have an opportunity to cash in with another team, potentially between $4 to $6 million. If the Niners were to franchise tag him, Robbie Gould would be making in the neighborhood of about $5.5 million. But if the 49ers end up drafting a kicker or signing one in free agency, that allows them to save some money on the salary cap. I think that this is really, really risky for the 49ers to not pay for what they know they'd be getting in Robbie Gould. Is he money from 50 plus? No. Does he have the strongest leg? No. Do all of his kickoffs go into the end zone and out of the end zone for a touchback? No. But when it comes time for the playoffs, Robbie Gould is clutch. And by moving on from him, you're going to a relative unknown. Now, big kicker that a lot of people are talking about was arguably the best kicker in college football last year, and a name to keep an eye on for the 49ers is Jake Moody out of Michigan. You could probably get him 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, right? But oftentimes kickers and their success and their talent doesn't translate from the college level to the NFL level. So you're going from a known commodity in Robbie Gould to an unknown commodity in potentially a rookie kicker, because sometimes they can't deal with the mental rigors of playing in the National Football League. And if you miss a kick here and there, that can swing a ball game, that can swing a divisional race, that can swing a conference championship, a playoff game, a Super Bowl. And Robbie Gould has been counted on time and time again in big situations for the 49ers throughout their playoff runs when he's been on this team, and he had one of the most iconic kicks in the history of the NFL playoffs in 2021 against the top-seeded Green Bay Packers as the snow was coming down at the cathedral of National Football League play and to take down the Packers. So by moving on from Robbie Gould, I think it's a massive risk. You're moving on from a really clutch kicker and going now to potentially a rookie. And if that doesn't work out, when you're scrambling midseason for a kicker, you find yourself in a very dire situation. So, do you think that this is a good move to move on from Robbie Gould? Why? For yes, it's a good move, and for no, let me know down in the comment section. Let's talk some quarterbacks here. A lot of people were fired up when I brought up Baker Mayfield yesterday. Look, according to The Athletic yesterday, the 49ers might show some interest, and according to Albert Breer, Baker Mayfield, the 49ers, San Francisco, it could be a landing spot for the free agent, former number 1 overall pick. I understand that with the Cleveland Browns at the end of his tenure, he didn't play that well. And really in his professional career, he has one season where he did play really well. That was 2020. You watch the tape, he was accurate. That offense was pretty explosive. Kevin Stefanski runs a very similar offense to Kyle Shanahan, and that's why Baker Mayfield is a fit on this offense. Obviously, he has swagger and sometimes too much confidence. He can be a little bit arrogant. He can be a little bit cocky. There's no doubt about that. I don't hate having confidence at the quarterback position, but you need quarterback stability. You're not sure when Brock Purdy is going to be able to come back from that elbow surgery. I said it right at the time when the surgery got delayed. I highly doubt that he's going to be ready for week 1. Trey Lance, I like his skill set. I like his potential. But can he play in this league? He started 4 games in his NFL career. So if it's Trey Lance as the only quarterback this offseason on this roster, you need some competition, and you cannot run into a situation in which Josh Johnson is playing in the NFC Championship game. Now, that came down to quarterback attrition. A lot of quarterbacks got injured. Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. But here's the point. You'd rather have Baker Mayfield than a guy like Josh Johnson. And let me ask you this. Is Baker Mayfield better than Jimmy Garoppolo? He's definitely more talented, and can Kyle Shanahan bring the best out of Baker Mayfield? He's been able to maximize a lot of his quarterbacks, if not all of them. C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan's been able to do wonders with those quarterbacks. I imagine that he can bring the best out of Baker Mayfield. You rely on the ground game if he gets any playing time at all. And this 49ers offense, one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL, schematically, because of how Kyle Shanahan likes to design plays, draw them up, and how the offensive line is able to get the advantage on some of those pull blocks, swing blocks, etc. But then Baker Mayfield is surrounded by arguably the best supporting cast that he's had in his NFL career. If it happens, I won't hate it, because you need stability at that quarterback position. And honestly, Baker Mayfield did play pretty well coming down the stretch with the Los Angeles Rams, a team that was missing a bunch of players at the end of the year. And are there better options out there? I said on yesterday's show, Jacoby Brissett, he'd certainly intrigue me. But outside of that, you want to go Cooper Rush, Taylor Heineke, or a player with some pedigree and a lot more talent that you're hoping this coaching staff can develop and have him playing at a pretty good level in Baker Mayfield? Do you want to sign Baker Mayfield? S for sign, P for pass, F for fraud. Let me know, because I know a lot of people don't like him. Lastly, Aaron Rodgers. Ian Rapoport said on the Pat McAfee show on Friday that he is still an option. Why? 49ers don't know the timeline for Brock Purdy's injury. I thought it was very interesting how Ian Rapoport from the NFL Combine didn't mention Trey Lance at all. Trey Lance has to be mentioned in this conversation. He's going to have every rep in OTAs, almost every single rep throughout training camp, to prove that he was worthy of being selected number 3. If Trey Lance doesn't win the job week 1 and then continue to beat out Brock Purdy, that's on him. It's not on anybody else. It's on Trey Lance. But for Aaron Rodgers, this is absolutely fascinating. I listened to his podcast with Aubrey Marcus, and I think it's funny how a lot of people want to rip Aaron Rodgers for going on this darkness retreat, yet we compliment all of these other athletes who have voiced some of the difficulties and the challenges that they've run into when it comes to mental health. And we want people to be advocates for mental health in today's society, because for far too long, we swept these types of issues under the rug. And we want athletes to feel comfortable with coming out and saying, look, I'm really struggling in between the ears, because they can set an example for others who are also struggling and serve as a source of inspiration. So if Aaron Rodgers goes to his darkness retreat, and that is his way to lock in mentally, to really examine what's going on with his life, and to improve his mental health and work on some issues that he might be having internally within his mindset, then who the hell cares if he goes to a darkness retreat? I meditate almost every single day. Does that make me weird? Some people might say that. Yeah, but look, it puts me in a position to succeed professionally and personally every single day. When my mom passed away, I tried to find ways to improve myself as an individual and improve my mental health, because I was in a really dark spot. So what did I do? I started to try to improve myself any way I could. Meditation, really good dieting and nutrition, working out. And for Aaron Rodgers, he might have those latter things, but not the mental health box. It's not checked off. So he does his darkness retreat. Is he kind of an odd dude? Maybe. I think he's introspective. I think he's very, very interesting. Is he still a really good quarterback in this league? Yeah. And don't act like he's not. 2020, 2021, he was the MVP in this league for a reason. And even last year, when the Packers weren't playing all that well, I thought that coming down the stretch, when the Packers needed to go on that winning streak to even have a chance at making the playoffs. With a broken bone in his thumb, Aaron Rodgers still played well. Of course, it makes you hit pause with Aaron Rodgers because of that contract, which could go upwards of, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million, and you would have to give up a lot of player capital and or draft capital in order to bring him in. But if he has an amicable split with the Packers and he can control where he goes with his no trade clause, which is what I believe is written into his contract, and he wants to go to the Niners. Look, right now, it doesn't seem as though there's a market in the AFC. Ideally, Green Bay would like to send him to the Raiders or send him to another team. If he wants to go to the 49ers, he can say, look, I won multiple MVPs, won a Super Bowl. I've been here for a long while. I took over for Brett Favre, and I had this franchise in a position to compete every single year. Send me back to Northern California, where I grew up, where my love of football started, Chico, California, went to Butte Community College, went to Cal, and the 49ers passed on me for Alex Smith many years ago. Let's right those wrongs. Let me extend my career, have an opportunity at winning a Super Bowl if, Green Bay, you don't even want me here, and you want to go with Jordan Love instead. Let me decide what I want to do if you're going to decide that you don't want me any longer. So, look, I think it's highly, highly doubtful that the 49ers trade for Aaron Rodgers, but Super Bowl contending team right now, loaded roster. I think that he'd be a good scheme fit with what Kyle Shanahan likes to do because LaFleur does a lot of the same things. And Aaron Rodgers in this offense would immediately make the 49ers contenders to win the Super Bowl and probably the favorites to win the NFC. I'd explore it because all I'm trying to do, if I'm John Lynch, Adam Peters in this front office, as well as Kyle Shanahan and this coaching staff, look, I don't know how long George Kittle's going to be at his prime. I don't know how long Trent Williams is going to play. We have Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, Fred Warner. How long can we have this nucleus all together? How long are we going to be in this Super Bowl contending window? Probably not long. Got to maximize it. And if the 49ers believe that Aaron Rodgers is that guy, I'd certainly explore it. All right. Just wanted to rattle off some things, news, rumors, analysis here on a Saturday. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow on Sunday, so keep an eye out and turn on those notifications and subscribe. Therefore, anytime we push out a video, anytime we do go live, you will be notified.